You're listening to The Burning Truth. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, dude and dudettes. I am one half of the host of The Burning Truth, and I've got with me the other half of the Burning Truth. The host, the other host.
Yes,
Myself.
essentially.
I am Matt Burns, and with me is John Ballore, also known as JB.
Good evening. Hello. Yes, he's Matt Burns. I'm John Bloor. This is The Burning Truth, the show that talks about wrestling and stuff.
Yes.
Because, hey, I'm here, so let's face it, tangents are a distinct possibility.
Most likely. Now, let's just get some things straight out the way beforehand. I'd like to make a bit of a... Basically, I slipped up in the past in some of the episodes in the past episode, assuming that NXT TakeOver Portland would be happening on Saturday.
E.g., yesterday.
Yes.
But guess what? It's not.
It's not. It's tonight. I
Right,
know.
because-
I am a dim idiot.
It's because it's on a non... I mean, officially the term is main roster, but you know what I mean.
No.
It's on a non-people who are contracted to Raw or SmackDown night, week for pay-per-views. There's
As
not
I
a
say,
big show.
there's no WWE pay-per-view.
Yes. So this means that NXT can happen on the Sunday instead.
Right, which is fine. Now, there was the slight issue with that. Now, another reason why the issue could have happened is because you might have actually noticed, yes, we are live, compared to how it was done in the most recent times. Now, as you know, the past few weeks we've been having episodes where they've been doing them on the Monday, having delays. That is due to some, we did actually have certain issues where there was some, myself being unwell or technical issues like we were having over last week, which was due to weather conditions.
Due to the storms that have been lashing the country.
And still are.
Yes.
Because if I'm not mistaken, last night I literally had to step outside to put something in the bin, and I felt like I went ankle deep into a river.
Yes. Needless to say, much like my cats, Mr. Matt Burns' dog has not been let out for about a week for fear.
We're having technical difficulties now, unfortunately, which could be due to the weather. There'll be the odd glitch.
Essentially, yeah, there might be the odd glitch. You can hear me.
It seems to be still occurring. We do apologise for this. I am currently trying to get this resolved. There we go. That sounds like we are all resolved.
I don't know.
Yep, there we go.
All right, okay. Apologies for... We went through a tunnel, ladies and gentlemen.
Even though... And now a lot of people are saying, well, how is the technical... how is it that Matt Burns is speaking fine, but JB isn't? Simple being, as we've always stated each week, we're not in the same room.
No, we live very far apart, 200 miles, give or take, and this show is brought to you largely by the wonders of modern technology.
Using the power of the internet.
Using the power of fibre broadband and the like.
Yeah, now...
So...
Yeah. Now, what we're going to basically just discussing with that, so that's the reason why we've been having certain issues, and last week the internet connection was so poor, it was to a point where we couldn't even communicate via through the system that we're currently using now. It was
No.
just unusable, and because of that, I decided to take extra precaution, which is why it ended up being pre-recorded, the episode getting released later than usual on the Monday as such, and that's why we've been having that. Hopefully we should be having more episodes prepared, well, more of us being on correct times. However, let me just state this for get it out the way and done and dusted. Next week's episode will most likely be a pre-recorded episode, and might be one of the episodes that we have got catalogued.
You never know. That's most likely to be the situation. Of course, via the social media, we'll let you know if that changes. But yeah, assume that for now.
Basically, there will be an episode next week at the correct time, which will be 9 o'clock, hopefully.
Yep.
If it is a little bit later, then that might mean we're live or there's more technical issues. But
Yep.
if there is anything that we need to make you aware of, we will veer through the power of the internet and using social media. Now, what we're going to basically just get additionally from that, we're going to basically just state, bit of a warning disclaimer. Would you care to do the usual warning disclaimer, please, JB?
The following programme is a post-watershed production which may contain scenes and storylines unsuitable for younger listeners. See, I didn't say viewers this week. And also some storylines unsuitable for other listeners. This programme may also contain strobe lighting effects.
I know. A lot of you saying in the past I used to be hatred of that. In actual fact, I'll be honest with you, I find it hilarious the fact that he comes up with that every week.
Well, it's just I have yet to see WWE programming since it moved to BT Sport, because I know that warning probably died with Sky Sports because it was designed for the pre-showing of Monday Night Raw on Sky Sports, but you just can't beat it, really, for
True,
its
and
pure simplicity.
True, and for me, it's still with us. Damn it, we'll keep it going.
Yes.
We'll keep it going. Now, anyway, we've got plenty to talk about. What we're just going to do is, yes, we already know that we've already covered the NXT TakeOver Portland predictions. We're just going to do a quick rehash and just basically, remind you of what we've picked.
Yes. Might not hurt to remind you, and I think there's at least one more match for which we didn't do predictions last week, so we need to expand upon that. Now, the important question is, Matt Burns, have you got them written down from when we made our initial predictions so that we can refer back to them so that,
Yes.
we look vaguely professional and we don't contradict each other?
Yes, and how many matches have you got down?
I don't know. Have you got the initial notes? Because I've got
six.
I've got 6.
6.
Okay. I thought they'd added at least one, but
No.
no. Okay,
6.
that's fine.
All 6.
That's all good then.
Right, what we're going to be discussing is a quick glance over NXT TakeOver Portland predictions, covering why MLW is upset with WWE. And believe me,
Well,
it's a good reason.
Yes.
About
It's essentially a very bad reason, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
in regards to the RevPro British Heavyweight Championship
Yeah.
and the UKWA Finest Hour Fallout. Yes, we know that it happened a few weeks ago. Yes.
It happened a couple of weeks ago, yes, but, due to the previously aforementioned weather issues, we didn't get around to talking about it last week, so
And
here we are.
we wanted to minimise. We didn't want to have any issues and minimise it. And plus, I felt as though I needed to have JB with us. Yes, he was calling the action as it is, and yes, I am one of the owners of the company.
Yes.
Although I will be discussing about the ownership in regards to the fallout, which we'll get to later.
Yeah.
But anyway,
But generally, that's what we've got to look forward to in today's show, all of those things. So which one of them are we going to start with?
I'm just going to say I'll just fire out the NXT TakeOver Portland predictions quickly, just so we've already got them
do that
out the way.
quickly. Yeah, that's cool.
Now, this is once again in no special order as such. We're not saying they will appear in these actual match order. We literally went for the following winners, which is the Broserweights to become NXT Tag Team Champions.
Yep.
Both of us...
I think we both agreed to that one.
Yes, we did. Both of us agreed that Rhea Ripley will retain the NXT Women's Championship.
Yep. Against Bianca Belair.
Yes. And we went on separate ends of the scale for the street fight between Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox.
Yep. I thought it was only logical that Tegan Nox would win.
And I've gone for Dakota Kai.
Again, your reasons I'm sure you thought were logical, but of course a bit of jeopardy helps, because if we agree on everything and then we either get them all right or wrong, there's no way that one of us is going to win. So, like we say, a bit of jeopardy helps.
Yes, it does. But we've both got valid reasons. Then the next match was going to be the singles match between Finn Balor and Johnny Gargano.
Yeah, which, if I remember correctly, I went with head over heart. As much as I'd like for the opposite to happen, I think I picked Finn Balor to win.
Yes, you did. And I went with none other than Johnny Wrestling, Johnny Gargano.
I see.
That could be indirect results because of the street fight as well. To try and even it up, potentially.
Yeah, possibly. As far as the NXT North American Championship goes...
Yeah, we both stated...
we both picked Keith Lee to retain, no?
I picked Keith Lee to retain outright. You picked Keith Lee to retain through a no contest.
Via shenanigans, via the interference of, Velveteen Dream, Killian Dane, Damian Priest, whoever decides to get involved. There's going to be at least one of them in there.
Yeah. I don't think the Velveteen Dream will be involved in that match at all.
Actually, no. I think if he does make an appearance, it might be after the match, as if to say,
I don't think he will.
Want a championship back.
I thought he'd either get involved in either the NXT Tag Team Championship or the NXT Championship.
Yeah, that would be more likely, bearing in mind that they involve members of the Undisputed Era who were the reason he was put on the shelf in the first place.
Correct. But anyway, we digress, and the main event...
Though, bear in mind, the only member of the Undisputed Era who's not on this show is the one responsible,
Mm-hmm. Right, well, anyway, we'll move on. The main event being the NXT Championship, which is Adam Cole versus Tommaso Ciampa. Both of us have claimed that there will be a new NXT champion.
The prophecy will come crashing down because Goldie's going home.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, one thing I want to quickly glance over.
Yeah.
Because, as we've done this, and we're on NXT already.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on the supposed rumour of them changing the name of one of the championship belts?
I am well, what you mean in a subtle kind of way, like how they've turned the WWE UK Championship and the WWE Cruiserweight Championship into the NXT UK and Cruiserweight Championship, or are you thinking in a more subtle way, like they're trying to turn the North American Championship into the NXT Apple Pie and Custard Championship, for example?
I am referring to the fact that they are considering changing the name of the NXT Women's Championship.
Oh, okay.
Or is this news to you?
Heard that rumour, so I'm now dreading the thought of this.
I better get the soapbox ready.
Yeah, I am now dreading this because there is galloping over the horizon a horrible sort of angel dust pink, and I think they're supposed to be wings shaped type of belt.
No, nothing like
Divas
that. Nothing like that.
Certainty.
Nothing like that at all.
Good, Can I just state that? I can't say that strongly enough. Good. That's the last direction they should take it in.
Yeah, nothing like that. But it's going to hurt your head.
Essentially, of course, before you tell them what it actually is, if they want to legitimise it, here's the simple way to do it, right?
Go on.
NXT Women's Championship
Yep.
stays the same. Insert the word men's strategically into the NXT Championship, and there you go. Sexism gone. Situation averted without having to do anything.
So close! So close!
Did I accidentally get literally within 6 inches of the right answer without even realising?
You're so close, but it's the exact opposite what they're doing.
Oh, it's basically just they're going to have 2 NXT championships.
Yeah.
Non-gender specific.
They're basically going to be changing the NXT Championship for the women's, changing it to the NXT Championship.
Yeah.
But when people are going to be discussing the NXT Championship, they have to refer to it as the NXT Championship. But then when you say, it's for the NXT Championship, the first thing that's going to be stated is, well, which NXT Championship? Rhea Ripley's or Adam Cole's? And it's like, and I guarantee you, regardless of it, it'll still get referred to as either the NXT Women's Championship or the NXT Men's Championship.
Yeah, which means, why don't they just insert the word men's into the men's one, and there you go. Bang, job done.
Right.
That's all they've got to do.
If they go down that route, I actually have an even cleaner version if you wanted, like you said, equal rights on both sides. If they're both going to be called the NXT Championship, I'll just fricking merge them.
Aside from all the sensible and logical reasons why that just makes perfect sense, because WWE doesn't believe in intergender matches and men fighting women is a big no-no in WWE land, and that's a taboo that is not going to change until the main person who hates that man is no longer in control, e.g. dead.
No,
Sorry to have to be so blunt, but the only way he's not going to be in control is after he's gone. So it's not going to change that for a while yet. But that is the ultimate solution, really, as much as it's a pipe dream at the moment.
And what I'm... Right, let me just point this out. What's just been stated, I believe that my colleague was not actually wishing that...
absolutely not. No. No,
I just thought of just pointing that out.
He could live to be 100, and frankly, if he does, great. Everyone deserves to live their life to the absolute full. All I'm simply saying is, for as long as he is alive, he will be in charge of WWE, and he does not like intergender matches. So while he is in charge, the current position I don't think will change. That is all.
True. Or unless he has to step down for some unknown reason.
I don't know, health reasons or whatever. Yes. I can't see that happening either, but yes, I know what you're saying. But no, I was not implying that either it's going to happen soon, or that is what is, that is an outcome that is wanted. It's not.
No, it's not.
Not even close.
I just thought to clarify that. Right.
Yeah, I thought I was clear, but it's best to be absolutely sure.
100%. Well, anyway, let's get down to further business, because that's out the way. And
that will be on air shortly, so we need to carry on because we need to get out of the way and out of your hair so you can go and watch it.
Pretty much. Now let's move on to the next topic.
Go for it.
Why is MLW upset with WWE?
Because
dear.
WWE has just launched a new sub-NXT development brand called MLW, completely oblivious to the fact that MLW exists, and they're trying to sue the already existing company for using their trademark. No? Hint, that was me guessing. That's not real. I know that for a fact. I was just speculating for the sake of dramatic suspense.
And I'll just cover this. This has been reported, and this is how I'm actually going to provide this report. It's been reported that MLW is unhappy with WWE over alleged tampering. Now, in case you want to know where I've got the source, where I've got this information from, it was none other than WrestleZone.
Well, there you go. Which means you can take it precisely as seriously as you take anything else on the internet. You know.
And their report is stating, according to a recent report from PW Insider. So the actual news is actually coming from PW Insider. Now, let's just take this. Regardless of it, any source, we are mentioning the source just in case, because it is a report. But let's just still take it with a pinch of salt, because it might not be true, might not be, certain things might not be 100% accurate. Still take it with a pinch of salt.
Yes.
Now,
what it is, basically, I think, from what I've been led to understand of the situation, is MLW are issuing WWE-style exclusivity contracts to their talent with clauses which mean they can't compete elsewhere, which WWE are basically trying to pretend don't exist. Is that about the size of it?
Sort of. Basically, Major League Wrestling attorneys have recently engaged WWE attorneys this week, with the company alleging that WWE is attempting to tamper with contracted MLW superstars. In the report, it doesn't note specifically the cause for this, but simply states that multiple talents, with the where it says multiple talents, the abbreviated quotes around them, have allegedly been tampered with by WWE since the company started signing superstars in 2018. Their contracts have forbidden them from working WWE shows, which means that any superstars in contact with the company could be in breach of contract. While this hasn't stopped people before, it seems that MLW is interested in pursuing the matter and doesn't want to see WWE interfering with any of their talent.
Perfectly understandable for a company that is trying to establish itself as not perhaps an AEW style direct rival because they don't have the money, but as another company in the wrestling marketplace for whom, yes, WWE is a bigger company, but they're competing for the same audience.
Still, in a way, but regardless of it, WWE should be, if it is true that they are doing it, they should be respecting the deals as such. But anyway, it's anyone's guess whether it's going to escalate or not, but the supposed report does state that MLW feels that it has plenty of evidence of tampering occurring, so it'd be worth keeping a look into, which will most likely be, looking into if there's any further developments in regards to the situation. And hopefully
nothing may come of it. Something else may. We'll keep you updated if we hear anything more. But of course, we'll tread lightly because as it's an ongoing legal situation, there may be things we're not allowed to say. We'll report what we can, but we're aware there may be limitations.
Yeah.
I think that's the safest bit of, hedge sitting we can do on this one.
Now, it's a bit of an unusual one because at the same time, it's a bit it's weird because if it is true that WWE are tampering with ML superstars, right? That could be WWE getting too big for their boots. Basically stating that no other contract matters, only theirs. And if they are, they could end up finding themselves in deep, deep water by them being involved, and not only getting them basically possibly fined, but also said talent if they're being contacted and they're not turning them down. If they're actively listening, they could end up basically being in breach of their own contract and possibly being sued by MLW as well.
Which is not a situation that anybody wants to find themselves in.
Now, at the same time,
WWE have a fierce reputation in the legal sphere. The lawyers that they have mean that going up against WWE in a legal case is historically not come out in your favour if you're not WWE. But at the same time, a contract is a contract, and if, there's a case to be had, then fair play to MLW for sticking to their guns and going, no, this is legal and you're cheating, essentially.
Yes. Now, at the same time, a lot of people are probably going to be stating, "Oh, can't WWE just buy the wrestler out of their contract?" That might be a possible way, but then again, if the wrestler has signed it and there isn't a buyout clause within the said contract, then it may basically they might be obligated to work out that contract until said date when their contract runs out.
Yes.
Which then, if that is the case, but at the same time, WWE have been known to supposedly going out grabbing talent at high speeds, and not basically allowing other companies to basically refurbish, being able to build up their necessary to build up. Which some might see it as WWE trying to monopolise the business, which it can look like that way.
It can occasionally look that way. We can't speculate as to whether that is the case or not until we know more information, but yeah, some may draw that conclusion.
Everyone's got a different view on the subject. I know some people are saying, WWE are trying to monopolise, they're trying to ruin the independents.
Yeah.
I'll say this now, and there's others who are saying the independents are fine, regardless of if they are taking talent, because then that just means whoever's below the talent who's being taken is getting a chance to step up.
Exactly. And let's be honest, there's actually more high-quality indies at the level and 2 levels and 3 levels below WWE operating to a higher standard than I think there's ever been before.
It's the independent scene will survive. Basically.
Yeah, I mean,
and this is my view. My view is the independents will survive. WWE is going to do what WWE is going to do anyway, and regardless of it, at least when WWE are taking them, at the same time, it's also bringing a bit of light that if WWE are having to take them, then where they're taking them from, said company must be doing something right in picking the right stars.
But if you think about it, like I say, the indie scene below WWE is possibly the strongest it's ever been, because even in the days when there was WWE, WCW, and obviously to a lesser extent ECW, there were those 3, and then below that there were the couple of hundred people in the high school gym, basic wrestling, which is the lifeblood of the sport because it's where everyone makes a start, and there was nothing in between. But now, okay, there's only WWE at the very top level, but
sort of.
AEW trying to match that.
Slowly building
one
themselves
level below,
up.
Sorry?
They're building themselves up. At the same time, there's also ROH.
There is a level that never used to exist in the previous... let's say it was probably the ECW level, slightly below the main 2, but nothing to be shamed at, which now consists of Ring of Honor, Impact Wrestling, Major League Wrestling.
I wouldn't say that. I would say ROH is on par with AEW.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure. I just think purely from a distribution point of view, Ring of Honor, Impact Wrestling, and indeed Major League Wrestling are all there. They're all to a greater or lesser degree, below WWE, and I would say AEW, but not that far.
I would say at the moment, currently, I would say it goes WWE at the top, AEW and ROH in the second tier. I think Impact have dropped down to the third tier, which is, because you don't seem to be hearing as much from Impact Wrestling. Yes, they have got some top stars on there, and you can watch it, and they've got some. Yeah, I've got some talent, and WWE and Impact working with each other and mentioning each other now.
Which is what in the old days people who were WWE fans would claim was the kiss of death. It's like
taboo.
If they're mentioning you, they don't consider you competition. That kind of dismissal, which is not technically the case.
It's not the case.
It kind of is, because you never hear that company that Bayley's not allowed to wear the title in case she accidentally referenced on WWE TV. But you now hear Impact Wrestling mentioned. You occasionally hear of other companies mentioned. On NXT, you hear the companies that the guys they've got for NXT and NXT UK all over the world reference quite frequently.
Yeah.
They never are more specific than just the word Japan, but they at least acknowledge it exists.
Yep.
You know, it's getting better for the WWE. They're no longer trying to insist that, you know, the wrestling universe is them and everything else is irrelevant, but they still don't like to mention direct competition. But anyway, like I'm saying, the number of companies that are either...
Actually, I was about to say, New Japan would also be potentially, you know, in the second tier as well.
Yes, absolutely. Well, as if we're going to go down that road, would probably AAA.
Yeah. And then we've got, like, you know, champion... You know,
AAA, and even possibly, I would go so far as to say WXW and Progress as well.
Progress, Rev Pro, and everybody.
CMLL.
In their own, but I would say they're third tier at the moment.
Yeah, the Australian
WCW. The reason why I say that is because that's technically in their country.
Yeah, they're not. They're known as local, like national promotions as opposed to international ones.
Yeah, whereas Impact, yes, it is an international, but lately it's been reduced more so to America only. And now that when they're going to other countries, they're putting in Impact Mexico now at the moment. Whereas previously it wasn't that; it would just be known as Impact.
Yes, I get you. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is there are plenty of companies now that the casual wrestling fan is aware of the name of. That's 8 or 10, just off the top of our heads, at various levels. Whereas it used to basically be WWE, or WWF as it was then, WCW, ECW, or high school gym wrestling in your local area. There was no middle ground.
Or there was, it just wasn't worldwide known. And, you know,
well, yeah, the fact that there now is, I think is actual to the benefit of wrestling in general. Yeah. You know, it's almost going back to the territory days where...
A little bit, yeah.
There's semi-reasonable companies everywhere. It's just that the WWE still sits above them.
Yeah. I'll agree with that.
Anyway, I think we've digressed quite spectacularly, despite trying not to.
But we had to cover that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I know this is going... I'm just going to have to cover this now, at the moment. For anybody I know who's a Rev Pro... Who is a Rev Pro wrestler, you know, Rev Pro.
Revolution Wrestling. Pro Wrestling, yeah.
Yes, fan of that. If you are hoping to wait to find out some of the results of High Stakes 2020.
Yeah.
Because it is available, it will be available soon available to watch at rpwondemand.com soon.
Soon. I would just like to point out, just like UKWA Finest Hour will be available to watch on Turnbuckle TV soon.
Yes, potentially during next week.
That soon. No, even better. You know what I mean? It'll be coming soon. So I think what you're driving at with that is we're not going to mention results because spoilers.
Well, we have got mention one result.
Okay.
Which is a biggie. All I'm just going to state is I'm going to give you the warning now of, I will state, I'd say give it about a minute or two, if necessary, or if you're listening on this and I pre-recorded, you know, listening back to this, give it 2 minutes and jump in. Or mute us for about a minute or two and just double check, just in case, because we don't want to spoil it for you. I'm going to be revealing the spoiler in 3, 2, 1. Congratulations, Will Ospreay, on becoming the Rev Pro British Heavyweight Champion, defeating Zack Sabre Jr.
Congratulations indeed.
And basically, after hitting the Stormbreaker, which is what it was in, and I just thought to just put it out, you know, the belt, which is often defended the belt is actually getting quite named. Because the belt has been getting often defended in Japan as well.
Yeah, which helps with its idea of becoming a world title. Anyway,
that it does.
They call it the World Championship, and there's a reason why.
Oh no, it's just only known as the British Heavyweight Champion.
Oh, I see.
That's all. But anyway,
It's defended all over the world, as we say.
correct. And that will be no discussion of it no more.
Right, okay. Tune back in now. Spoiler done. You've missed it, and knowing you, if you tuned out, that's probably a good thing. We will mention it no more.
Right, let's get on to... Right, more spoilers. If anybody's interested in finding out more about UKWA, Finest Hour.
Available soon on Turnbuckle TV.
Most likely this week.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be talking about that now, aren't we? So if you would like to wait until it's on Turnbuckle TV and you don't want to know the results, look away now.
I would say most likely basically you'll have to cut this off for quite a while because until the end, basically because this will be the last topic that we discuss.
Yeah, so essentially what we're saying is something that we'd never normally say, but basically if it's going to be on UKWA in the next week or so, maybe listen to this episode, pause it now, turn it off, come back and listen to the end of this episode before you listen to next week's episode, when it's already on and you can already have watched it, and so we're not spoiling anything.
Correct.
But for those who don't give a monkeys about spoilers...
and are grasping to find out what went on, or have seen the pictures and images and as such, because yes, the trailer's already gone out.
Oh yeah, it was a bit special. I would know. I was there.
You were calling the action, and let's just get one thing out of the way. Listen, I believe that we had one of your co-commentators were a bit upset because they were unable to attend due to heavy
situations completely beyond their control. Accidents and roads being closed, which meant they weren't able to attend. Yep. Tom Baker couldn't be there, but he was sorely missed.
He was. And just to state, as I might have already stated this as such, listen, don't worry about it, Tom. You tried your best to get there. Although I would have said, could have done with your investigative skills to find out what happened at the end of the show.
Something that even if you watch it on Turnbuckle TV when it comes out sometime in the next week or so, you might still be none the wiser, to be honest. I'm not sure I'm
not even none the wiser.
I saw it with my own eyes, and I still can't quite believe it happened.
Yeah, same here. But anyway, let's get down to the results of, or should we say, the fallout of Finest Hour.
Yes.
Now, I know I already mentioned this already, as such,
but
we unveiled the new championship.
The new UKWA championship.
Yes. Which was made by JFX 3D.
Yeah, I was just going to drop that hint there, as made by, but you beat me to it, yep. Would you like to say that name again, just to give him a plug? Because for anyone who watches the show on Turnbuckle TV and sees it, or who's seen the photos of it if they've gone up on social media, will know it's a lovely piece of work. And it was made by?
JFX 3D.
So if you're an owner or work at a wrestling company and you think...
No.
I love my company,
not just wrestling.
Maybe they could do with refreshing their championships a little bit.
Not
Brilliant.
even just wrestling. They are actually open to others.
Wrestling, boxing, MMA, anywhere where they use the concept of what originally, before it got expanded to the point where it would be useless for holding up your trousers, of a belt as a championship.
Yep. And
then
also
they can make you an exclusive original, and I felt the weight of the new one, incredibly hard wearing.
Yeah.
For your needs.
Definitely.
Seriously, did they make yours out of unobtainium lined lead?
It is quite heavy. I will state that. But it was amazing moments because at the same time, at UKWA, as we were introducing a bout, the new championship, we were having to essentially say goodbye to the current.
Well, they've sort of been, what's the word? Not retired, they have been combined.
Well, it's not combined. I am stating on the record. I did state it's been retired. It
Yes.
will have its own. It will be having its own history.
Yeah,
UK
the
Heavyweight
lineage will
Championship-
continue, but
No. The lineage will be starting anew for the UK Heavyweight Championship.
Oh,
Whereas
okay.
the King of the Kingdom is currently at an end for now.
for the time being, the King of the Kingdom is, and unless UKWA management decide otherwise, always will be Charles Kelsey.
He will. He is the last. Well,
He is the last King of the Kingdom champion currently.
going in to the event.
Yes.
Getting ahead of yourself, were you?
Oh, only about 300 miles.
Going 100 mile per hour. But anyway, we'll digress. So essentially, the main event was to be for both the newly minted UK Heavyweight Championship and the King of the Kingdom Championship as well.
Which I've got to be honest, a little confused by. If they're not being unified because the King of the Kingdom is being retired, sidelined, whatever word you want to use,
Yeah.
then how can it be up for the winner?
Because it would be the last night.
Oh, I see. So, yeah, fair enough. I get that.
It was the last night. That's why it was for both championship belts.
Yes. That's fair
So
enough.
it would be the only first time a double champion would be crowned.
First and only time.
For now.
With the
the
potential
time.
that it could, at the end of the
At
match,
the
the
time.
double champion could be either going in, reigning, defending King of the Kingdom champion, who could potentially win both titles, win the new UKWA Championship to add to his King of the Kingdom Championship, Charles Kelsey, or it could be the case that challenger Kit Knox walked away with both. See, didn't give anything away there, did I?
Yes. But anyway, we digress. We're beating around the bush. But anyway, the point being is that the main event was for later on. We'll discuss that later on, and we'll get down to the first match, which, due to the heavy traffic as such, this was the original. This was meant to be originally we ended up having a bit of a confusion due to traffic and everything. We were having issues with people getting there. But anyway, the show went as follows. The first match was Anarchy coming out, who had basically stated that management, myself, had overlooked them.
Yes. Which I wasn't 100% sure about, given their position in matches, albeit as a tag team or as separate entities on a good few previous UKWA shows. But okay, they're entitled to their opinions.
What I did notice, though, that was a bit oddly, is the fact that Jared Gorwick was missing and reportedly is gone from Anarchy.
Allegedly.
And has been replaced by Crimson Cage, of all people.
Interesting.
Now, the last time a lot of people were unaware, Crimson Cage was heavily against Anarchy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah, so it looks like a bit of a change of heart or something, or some reason. Who knows?
Well, for reasons best known to Crimson Cage, but anyway.
Yeah. They came out stating that they have nothing else. However, their opponents that were coming out
Yep.
we did have to bend some health and safety rules.
Just a little bit, yes. Essentially, their opponents were members of Shropshire Hardstyle,
Yep.
CJ Connors, and the given special medical clearance to fight for one night only.
No, for both of them, actually.
Ah, okay.
Both of them. Now, I don't know why this came about. I think the reason why it did come about is because I think Basham and Connors were, essentially, and I was considering booking, another team against Anarchy, but they picked up and decided to fight for management's honour, stating how dare they show disrespect to the management when they've been on the shows, every show so far.
Yes.
Well, minus the first one. And at the same time, I believe that throughout the show as well, just to point out, I'll need to add this in now actually, just to get everyone up to speed. Renee was currently in the process of leaving UKWA.
Yep, and therefore of getting rid of, via the process of giving away, selling, or what we're not 100% sure what she decided to do yet, her stake in the company.
It was supposedly up for stake online to sell. I know this because I ended up putting a bit of a bid myself.
In an attempt to... Oh, I see. You wanted to basically buy out your competition, as it were.
Well, not competition. My business partner was retiring,
Yes.
and unfortunately, due to the clause when we went into it, we couldn't actually outright buy each other straight off, get first dibs. We decided to put it in as a bidding if we ever decided to leave it.
Yeah.
As such. So then there's at least then she gets to either, basically make either possibly more money from selling it as such from getting into the business. Now I put a fair sum in regards to it. Basically, it was enough to give her a profit.
Well, there you go. However...
Oh, no. We'll leave it there.
Oh, I wasn't going to give anything away. I was simply going to say that whilst she is no longer a part of UKWA, someone or something has bought her stake.
We'll most likely have bought it by the end of the night. Would have.
Yes, but we don't know yet who or what that is.
Until later.
See?
Now, I was throughout the show checking up on it and noticed my bid was still above everybody's throughout the night, but we'll get back to that later.
Yes.
Anyway, the match basically went underway, and as such, both CJ Connors and Basham signed clauses that if they did get any further injured or hurt, that UKWA and myself would not be and management would not be held responsible. But as an extra precaution, we did have medical teams on standby.
Yes.
Just in case. Now, some of this, while I was dealing with management in the back, I'd got the medical team ready out there. I was in the back sorting out business, so what happened after the match, I didn't actually witness. But anyway, the match basically went back and forth between Shropshire Hardstyle members Basham and Connors against Anarchy. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It wasn't Anarchy's day.
It really, really wasn't. No. They might have only been medically cleared for one night, but I don't know. I think it would appear that that went to their heads a bit, and Shropshire Hardstyle absolutely made the most of it. Correct. And made the evening fundamentally miserable for Anarchy.
Now, I believe Jay Shelley is still stating he never lost the match because he wasn't pinned.
Yes.
And pointing the blame on Crimson Cage. I'm not stirring up the pot.
Of course not. That's far beyond your remit. However, yeah, Jay Shelley didn't lose, but as a collective, if that's what they are, Anarchy did, unfortunately.
Yes. And I believe that would be technically Jay Shelley's first loss.
Yes.
Technically.
Yes, he can argue till the cows come home. It could technically not be considered that because he didn't take the loss, but the history books will forever record that Shropshire Hardstyle won, so make of that what you will.
Now, I had to find this out on footage. What happened after?
I can believe, because I probably saw it, but you were in the back, and so you were not there to view it firsthand.
Now, normally I'd have a screen. I had it normally with a screen. I was sorting out medical stuff to be prepared, and also dealing with other stuff, and also dealing with the fact that my business partner was selling their half of the percentage of the company,
Yes.
which can get a little bit out of hand. Now,
Obviously, it rather had your full attention, meaning that maybe the events in the ring didn't as much as they normally would and should have.
correct. Now, I found the footage of this after the show, so you'll see why I'd mention that later. But anyway,
Yes.
All Elite Express decided to come out and viciously attack Basham and Connors to try and further injure them.
To try and basically take advantage of the fact they were already injured, already technically on the shelf, and make that stay on the sidelines considerably longer.
Also, basically, almost trying to further the job on Connors as well.
Yeah.
Now their colleagues Shropshire Hardstyle put a stop to this.
Yes.
And basically cleared them out. Now, I believe that Basham decided to jump onto the commentary team a bit later on, from time to time, brief in intermission. So, which I was very grateful for. The fact that even though he had been attacked, we did actually have medical teams on both Connors and Basham straight away after that. Was the reason why he didn't go straight to the commentary team straight after.
No.
Now, next up was two people for the match 2. Was two people who were making their debut.
Yes, they absolutely were.
Which was none other than Big Papa Troy Goose and his many nicknames.
A man who fundamentally has got believing his own hype down to a fine art.
I believe you might have something in common with the Dragon Ball Z Abridged Vegeta. He is the hype!
I'll have to take your word for that. However, yes, Troy Goose faced off against the other debutant. Both of them in this match were James Terry.
James Terry, who I know myself as a bit of a submission specialist as such. But he is no slouch. Now, I will say, from booking this match, this was a match I basically set up James Terry, and I was trying to organise the match to decide on who to put him up against in a fair match. Now, this was before it was being sold.
Yep.
My business partner, my former business partner, Renee, decided to put in Troy, which, to my surprise, I will state, is a bit of a mismatch.
Yes.
To a degree.
It's a man who likes to let his actions in the ring do the talking, against a man who very much likes to do the talking.
However, in contrast of ability, I'm not stating that James Terry is worse than Troy
No,
Goose
not
wrestling.
not better or worse.
At all. I thought the styles actually was quite clever.
Yes.
So I actually agreed to this.
Quite rightly, as it turned out, because it was a fantastically entertaining match.
That it was, and something I was very happy. And as one of the final matches that Renee was involved in the booking with, legit happy with it. And I'm not just saying that because of the result either. In case you're wondering,
that helps obviously, but no, that's not the only reason.
It wasn't interesting because this was two different styles, going toe to toe against each other. Now,
Yes.
I believe throughout the match, Troy had a bit of the advantage.
Yes. Excuse me. Yes, he did, to begin with.
And he's not yawning because he's bored. It is getting late.
I'm sorry, yeah, I've had a very long day. I do apologise. I've had a long day. I'm probably going to have to watch TakeOver Portland tomorrow. That's how long a day I've had.
Well, I'll most likely be aiming to watch it tonight.
Fair play.
Although tomorrow's going to kill me.
Yes, it probably will, but I've got a feeling... Come on, this is an NXT TakeOver show. It's going to be worth it.
It's going to be worth it.
Yeah, anyway, do we want to say the winner of the match? Or...
The winner of the match was James Terry, and what a way to win.
Yes.
Troy Goose attempting to cheat. And I've got to say, I am so happy with the referees that were on hand for the whole event.
Yes, because, attempts to cheat are all well and good, but it's even better when, like in this instance, they don't work out how you planned.
Now, let's just state this. The referees throughout the show was none other than Derek Caslin and, of course, Tony Barrett.
Yes.
Both of them, high-quality referees.
Agreed.
Basically, money's worth straight out. All the referees that we've had, including Lacey James as well. All referees that we've had on the show, and of course Jig, all referees we've had have been nothing but the highest standard, highest quality, 100% without a shadow of a doubt. Referees who I am proud of to have on the shows, and they're always welcome to be on, involved with it, because they are to a massive high standard, and believe me when I say this, their credentials speak for themselves.
Yes. As you say, in this match, the attempts at cheating were
foiled
to come up short.
Yes, and while they were arguing with the referee, they unfortunately didn't basically focus on their opponents, and James Terry managed to get the win. I will state James Terry immediately scarpered.
Knowing on which side his bread was buttered, he got the win and decided discretion was definitely the better part of valour and took to the backstage to celebrate.
Pretty much that he did. Now, the next match, I will state,
a little bit chaotic.
Was originally scheduled to be Eddie Cobain, Big Rich and Stephen Keane.
In a triple threat match.
Yes.
However, no one at all told Pastor Everett Teague this fact.
Now, I'm going to state, unfortunately, the match wasn't actually officially made into a fatal four-way by management.
What?
Because it was scheduled by none other than Stuart Summers. However, I'm going to back him up on this one.
Well, yeah, essentially, he made the call on the fly in the ring because it was supposed to be a triple threat match. There were 4 people out there, all of whom were rang. Fight, and so, it was the logical thing to do.
Yeah, and it's something that I've discussed with Stuart in the past, and I'm so glad he made the right. Yes, he doesn't actually have the official right to call that, which is the reason why the match actually took place as well. And if you notice, the referees didn't look too confused.
No,
they had their earpiece in, and I basically, as soon as I actually was paying attention more because of the attack that I was having to pay attention a bit more. I was getting less busy because I'd already was in the clear with being the 100% future owner of UKWA. And as such, and we'd already, and I believe that Basham had gotten all checked out and Connors was, so I was keeping a close eye, and when I found out about someone getting involved in this match, I looked down, and as soon as I saw Stuart stated, why don't we make this a fatal four-way, I literally sent a signal to the referee saying, it's all clear.
Meaning it's all good, meaning, yeah, you know what? This is a call that I can back.
So, regardless of it not actually being voiced by myself, it was actually agreed by UKWA management, although it might not have been publicly known.
Indeed. And it didn't distract from the fact that there was plenty of action going on in the ring.
No kidding.
That Eddie Cobain, he doesn't half like to stretch the definition of family show, doesn't he?
Yes, because I believe I was having to hand out fines straight after the show.
Yes. Slap on the wrist. Eddie, it's a family show.
It was literally, it's a family show. I've got complaints. I'm having to... Eddie will be Eddie.
He certainly will.
And I believe he paid the fines with a smile on his face and just pretty much stated, the pleasure was all yours.
Yes.
He's a migraine.
Which made, after that statement, I was on the other side of the room just watching and overheard him say it to Matt Burns, and I needed to go for a shower afterwards. So I can only feel sorry for Matt Burns having to deal with that face to face.
Although I will state, he is a high level caliber competitor, and as such, yes, a lot of people can turn around and say, "Well, why have you booked me as a family show?" He has been getting victories throughout the UK.
Yes, he is. Yeah, a top level competitor, and all we've got to do is, well, essentially, we're never going to tone him down, are we? But
I may have to get a warning. I may have to send somebody out with him with viewer discretion is advised. You know what? I might just get you on the mic. Do that.
I'll bear that in mind for the next show.
Yeah, why not?
Definitely. Yeah, but this match was a clash of 4 very different styles.
Which I will state, Pastor William Everett,
not PG-friendly Eddie Cobain, the huge Big Rich, the vicious Stephen Keane, and how do you describe Pastor Everett?
Less vicious Stephen Keane.
How do you describe Pastor Everett Teague? Seriously,
let me just state this.
Zealous? Is that a good word?
I'll think of a word. He believes he's righteous as such. He believes he is delivering the word of God.
Although something tells me that he felt the reaction the next morning after he made the fatal mistake of attempting to call Stephen Keane a sinner.
And providing him the good book.
Yes.
Now, a lot of people are thinking, why did Stephen Keane hit him with the book? Why was Stephen Keane allowed to do that? Unfortunately, it's a fatal four-way.
It's a fatal four-way, which means
no rules.
Anything goes.
Pretty much.
Oh, and even if that wasn't the case, the bell hadn't officially rung.
Well, it sort of had, but then had to be re-rang again.
Yes.
To make it official. But anyway,
I said the bell had rung for the triple threat match, but it hadn't been rung to restart the match as a four-way.
Yeah.
So, if you're looking for technicalities.
There you go. But anyway, the point being is, regardless of it, he could have hit him with the book in the match anyway.
Would have been absolutely fine.
Right. Now, all I'll say is, Stephen Keane has been less vicious lately due to the nature of the whole issue with the Black Country Bulldog, who got basically released.
Yes.
And it's something I discussed with Stephen Keane himself. He wanted to rip him from limb. I will state, well, he is less vicious, but he wants to be vicious on the Black Country Bulldog. I literally stated due to health and safety, I couldn't let him anywhere near. However, me leaving the Black Country Bulldog unchecked was not going to happen.
No. There were no such issues to worry about on this show because there was no... Well, Stephen Keane was there on his own. He had nobody else to worry about, and so he was allowed to concentrate on getting thoroughly stuck into his opponents in the match.
Correct.
Which
and I
he
will
did
state,
with quite a lot of relish, I would just like to point out.
Correct, and I believe he got the win.
He did.
That he did. Clean, respectful, and he's been, he seems to have like a bit of a turn of leaf, and seems to be going down with the fans. You know, he's listening to the fans.
I was going to say, the fans reacted to that in that they seemed to take a shine to this turn.
Of course, and there was also cheering on Big Rich, especially with him grabbing his, Big Rich refueling himself, I believe.
Yes.
But anyway, we digress. Let's move. The match basically ended with Stephen Keane getting the victory.
Yeah.
We then went into the first half main event.
Oh, wow. Yes.
This match, I will state, I believe that JB would be so glad that I actually witnessed this match.
Yes. For the sake of the chaos that ensued, very glad indeed.
Right. We had Joe Black and Woody Anderson,
the newest member of of Shropshire Hardstyle.
And, ladies and gentlemen, we are having a minor technical difficulty. Yes, my colleague was stating that Joe Black, with the newest member of Shropshire Hardstyle, none other than Woody Anderson. I believe he had the team name of Black Got Woody.
Joe's, I think it was Joe has, but yeah.
Yeah, has Woody or something like that, which is not appropriate.
Again, straight after Eddie Cabane, that it was just a case of, yes, okay, we're in the gutter. You don't have to drag us any further down. Come on.
It wasn't. It was a bit of tongue in cheek, and I couldn't. They weren't in trouble because there is Toy Story, of course. Yes. I think the only way they could have made that more funny is if they literally entered to the song of "You Got a Friend in Me."
It's interesting to note that because, of course, as mentioned by me in the commentary, there was another reference to said film franchise in the match, which I'm not going to go into here.
Yeah.
But featuring members of the opposition, the All Elite Express.
Yeah. Which I thought, I didn't even realise it, and it was just, good Lord, how did I not see that? But anyway,
yes.
We digress. Anyway, the match was going back and forth, and All Elite Express, which was none other than AJ Hughes with Regan, and they also had a member with them, a general manager.
Yes, with Drew, the general manager of the whole company, who has, for some reason, aligned himself with the All Elite Express.
Now, at this point, I could not argue with it because he was general manager, and I allowed it, but I did state if he would get, he was on 2 strikes, and if he got involved as such, then, basically, I could be adding
another any involvement that distracted from the match would be his 3rd strike, and that'd be it.
And how did the match end?
Oh, yes, the match ended predictably.
I believe that Joe Black and Woody had got All Elite down for the count.
Yep.
The referee's counting, and Christopher Drew laid his hands on a referee again to stop the count to 3.
To once again try and influence a match in favour of the All Elite Express.
Now, I had witnessed this in the back, and unfortunately, due to other needs as well, I couldn't get directly straight away to ringside. That distraction was long enough to basically cause, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, one of them, basically, referee to come outside. It looked like Joe Black was basically ready to smack him one, which I'm surprised he didn't do. But we'll get
Joe
to that
Black
later.
showed remarkable restraint.
And thought to myself, he is a general manager. If I hit him, he could fire me.
Yes.
And restrained. And Basham, who was actually at ringside as well, showed remarkable restraint.
Indeed.
As such. And at which point, while the referee was trying to diffuse that chaos, with Black and I believe Christopher Drew, Woody got pretty much cheap-shotted, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so, yes.
At which point, while Woody is down, Black returned to the match to try and finish it, and unfortunately, the numbers game played up.
Yes, the combination of all the people at ringside as well as the general carnage worked in All Elite Express's favour.
Now,
Sadly.
All Elite Express got the win. However, what happened after?
After, there was an intervention by a furious Mr. Matt Burns.
Yes.
Who had seen what had happened regarding Mr. Drew thinking that he made the rules.
Yep.
And that essentially, that was his third strike, so action had to be taken.
I immediately knew I had to be there.
Yes.
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of people, I believe, with you was none other than Luke Basham stating that, why is nothing being done about this? And then as soon as he mentioned that, I appeared and which you pointed and goes, I believe you're about to get your wish.
Yes, because the man Matt Burns had been watching backstage, was frankly sick of it, and was about to make his presence felt, and how can we say this? Oh yeah, remind everyone, including a certain rule-breaking general manager, who the boss actually was.
Yeah. I pretty much arrived in the ring and reminded him of the three-strike rule system.
Yes.
Right? Now, essentially, I know I implemented that at Sugar Rush, and may have already given him a strike from 0 hour. Because, yes, he did place his hands on an officiate.
An official,
which I had to restrict. I had to discuss with the referees and state that it will not be happening. That shouldn't be happening again. Unfortunately, it did, and stated that a massive punishment would be dealt with. Now, Christopher Drew was warned he would be massively punished.
Yes,
I went through the history.
Yeah.
0 hour being strike 1, Sugar Rush being strike 2. He almost got strike 3. Unfortunately, felt a little bit guilty because of a certain kicks from Chantal Jordan.
Yeah. Ouch. Well, to be honest, any normal, rational, sane, non-Christopher Drew human being who'd literally had their head kicked off by Chantal Jordan, you would have thought that would have knocked some sense into them.
Pretty much.
But apparently not.
No. And I decided to give him his third strike at Finest Hour.
As a result of interfering in the first half main event, yes.
Oh, correct. And I'll get onto a bit of trivia why after this match as well. A bit of interesting trivia as well. But anyway, I got in the ring and I demanded the members of All Elite Express to leave ringside.
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe even yourself was quite surprised at how... You've never heard me so upset.
I've got to be honest, given how many plates you have to spin backstage, you're normally remarkably composed. Mm-hmm. You weren't then.
I had enough.
Yes, quite rightly.
And with Regan getting in my face, he was so close to being punished as well.
Punished, I assume you mean.
Yes, punished.
Because, yes, punched, as in hit in the face, that's Regan you're talking about. Even for you, that wouldn't have been a wise move.
I said punished.
Yeah, that's all right then. Just as long as we're clear.
Right. And because Regan was towing the line, and I mean, just about.
Well, yeah, he knew as how far to push it, but he did also know when to stop for the sake of his job.
Pretty much when I stated that. I then got Christopher Drew one-on-one in the ring. And at which point I reminded him of the three-strike rule system. And how did he react to that at first?
Well, after some initial, very, very
Reminding.
slight contrition, he reacted with his usual complete lack of any grace or dignity whatsoever.
And I believe, if I recall, I don't have the stones, I don't have the guts, I don't have the...
You don't have the nerve.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out he was wrong.
I fired Christopher Drew.
One man round of applause from me. UKWA, if the choice is vacant or Christopher Drew, then the UKWA needs vacant as its general manager.
I decided, going forth, we didn't need a general manager after that.
No. Well, not if it was going to be Christopher Drew and he was basically going to use the whole thing as an insane abuse of power constantly.
It wasn't just that. It was to avoid repeating the trap again of anyone using the power of being corrupted. Now, he was immediately fired, and Christopher Drew then stated, "You can't fire me, you can't fire me." And I said, "You're fired. Get out of my ring."
Yes.
Wrestling ring. At which point he said, "You can't make me." Now,
seems somewhat counteractive and somewhat naive and a little bit silly.
I could have removed him.
Yes.
Myself. But I thought,
absolutely.
And a lot of people are going to be questioning, why didn't I remove myself? I am the owner. If I had touched him, I know Christopher Drew would have had a clause or a backup plan of basically stating I assaulted him, and it would have meant...
it would have not ended up well for you if you'd done your dirty work yourself.
It would have meant he could have found a way of weaseling back in as general manager somehow, or weaseling some sort of rule.
Yeah.
Which we know he's a weasel, because we'll be getting into how much of a weasel he is a bit later on.
Yeah.
Right? However, I quickly reminded him, I don't need to remove him. And did he say no one could remove him?
I believe he may have immediately come to regret that statement, but yes, he did.
Because I quickly reminded him there were some lads he may have upset.
There were more than a couple of people who had no such worries about, impartiality of ownership or, unsafe working conditions or whatever he might have been able to get you with, who would be more than happy to remove him with great haste.
Correct. Now, immediately, Shropshire Hardstyle, mostly Basham, managed to remove him. But in the meantime, I believe that Charles Kelsey came out to the aid of general manager and stated, you can't do this, you can't happen. And if you remember, what did I say to Charles Kelsey? If he gets involved...
I'm quoting here, I'm paraphrasing here slightly, but don't you dare if you value your job and your championship.
If you value your championship...
Yes.
And value the right to fight for the new championship as well.
Yes.
Step aside. At which point, Christopher Drew was vacated out.
At which point, he had a deep sigh, but realised that as he thought Christopher Drew was the King of the Kingdom Championship was more important to him, Kelsey stepped aside.
Yes. Yes. Now we had a quick break then, and in which point I'll point out two interesting facts. One was that my bid was still at the top of the, still at the top. And the interesting fact of, do you know why the UKWA Championship was created?
Why?
Yes.
Because a promotion needs a championship to be.
It does. We had the King of the Kingdom Championship, and we decided we wanted to step up the plate.
Yeah.
At the same time, that championship is not restricted in any way.
The UKWA Championship is unrestricted.
Meaning, Doesn't matter what weight you are.
Meaning, if you are on the UKWA roster, you can go for the UKWA Championship.
Permitted you become a number one contender.
Well, that's what I mean. You can go for
Or
number
with
one
management,
contender status and from there fight for the championship, yes.
Or with management agreeing.
Yeah, provided that you put a run together, impress the right people in management, and / or win a number one contenders match, you could be the next contender.
Yes.
All you need as a qualifier to get that far, to get to the place where you can potentially be in the number one contenders match, is to be a member of the UKWA roster. Mm-hmm. Nothing more.
Pretty much. And by the way, that doesn't mean it's not just weight, it's also regardless of gender. Regardless of it.
That's why I wasn't specific. That's why I didn't say...
Correct.
I just said everyone on the roster.
Correct. But anyway, that factor was over, and we decided to get on to opening the second half of the show.
After a
break.
After a very needed, but also very short, because it needed to be short, because we were pushed for time, interval to get our breath back.
That we did. And we opened up with match 5, which this match, I actually was looking at this one as a possible number one contendership match. It wasn't made official, but it's one I've been eyeing up myself.
Yeah.
Which was...
Sorry, yeah.
Go on.
I was just going to say, the match was between two people who are making their debut in the company, but who have big reputations following them in.
Correct. Now, in case you want to know how good they are, CJ Rollins has had many battles with Charles Kelsey, some losses, some victories. He has been winning championship in other companies as well throughout the UK. He has been making a name for himself, which is none other than CJ Rollins.
Yeah.
And his opponent was none other than the... How do I describe him?
How do you describe who? Sorry. CJ Rollins' opponent?
Yes, the Martini chasing. The Martini chasing. Unique individual, Chase Alexander.
Unique is not the word.
What would you say?
Well, actually it is, but there are many others which run on a similar vein, which could be used to describe Chase Alexander. Unique, unforgettable.
Both of them unforgettable.
Genre-defying.
Both of them. Now, this match, I could see either being quickly ended or could go on forever.
Yes. And much to the surprise of everyone, I'm not sure you or me more, to be honest, I almost missed it by blinking. It felt like it was over that fast.
It was literally one mistake.
And it was done.
And it was done. That's how talented these guys are.
Yeah.
And it's something I will state. I feel as though I wanted more. I feel as though I may have to reboot that. That match could be for the future again.
I think that is a very wise idea.
But anyway, the winner of the match was none other than the CJ Rollins.
CJ Rollins, who was fantastic and, crucially, unlike Chase Alexander. Chase Alexander only made one, but it was a crucial one. CJ Rollins made no mistakes and capitalised on his opportunity.
Correct. Now, the next match is the 6-man tag.
6-man tag team. Good Lord, this is going to break down at some point match.
Now, this match, I will state, did actually have some changes to it.
Yeah, due to the situation which led to Tom Baker not being there, there are also links to a certain elements of this match having to be changed.
Due to one of the match participants being injured. Due to a non-wrestling injury.
Which is always annoying, but can't be accounted for, so you can't take too much from it. You can't be too angry.
Which is why we always state, cards subject to change.
Yes.
Now, I will state, and originally the person in question was none other than Ajax. However, as you'll find, a healthy replacement was quickly found. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you were actually questioning me in regards to this, saying what happened to Ajax. And at which point I stated, unfortunately, I explained what had gone on. And as such, and yourself just went, you managed to get a replacement quite quickly.
Yes. Not that I wish to cast aspersions on your ability to get a replacement so quickly, obviously, but
Correct.
I was impressed.
Yes, I will state, less than 24 hours.
Such is the fantastic depth of the talent in the UK wrestling scene that a replacement was sourced, and as a result, the match went ahead, and it was all good.
Correct. High caliber wrestling. Anyway.
So, just in case anyone has missed this, the match featured the Myatt Legacy,
Keith and Ryan Myatt, who I know personally.
And the All Elite Express's Dougie Matthews.
Who at this point, I could actually breathe a little bit more easy. Because I knew that a certain general manager was going to be involved in this.
Yep.
However,
which was fantastic news. And they were facing off against AWOL.
Wait, let's go back.
Okay.
The Myatt Legacy and Dougie Matthews were not alone, though.
No.
They had the I believe he calls himself the...
You think you get rid of one fly buzzing around the side of the ring in the form of Christopher Drew, and along comes another one in the form of Filthy.
Filthy Woodvine. I believe Phil Woodvine. I believe he calls himself Gob Almighty.
So I've heard.
Something along them lines.
Quite a lot of the time, self-appointed nicknames, are self-aggrandizing and don't really work. But in this case, that's an understatement.
But anyway, they were being pitted up against AWOL, which was the members were Benjamin Harland and Jack Knudsen.
Yep.
Now, originally, their the third partner of AWOL was not able to schedule there because he had prior engagements, and we originally had Ajax. Now, Ajax, unfortunately, literally the day before, had actually sustained a bit of an injury, and as such, an emergency replacement was acquired. And I will state, the person who I managed to acquire was none other than Kai,
who was a person making his debut in UKWA, but who will definitely be back.
Definitely. Absolutely massive talent. This match was chaotic.
Well, the fact that there were 6 men in the ring, Filthy at ringside, it was always going to be hard for one referee to keep track of, and so it proved.
Correct. As such, however, I could not get involved as much because Filthy does have his manager's license.
He is legally obliged, nay, entitled to be at ringside, and so it's not simply as easy as telling him he's breaking the rules and would he kindly sod off. He's allowed to be there.
Correct. And the only reason why I stepped in on Christopher Drew was because he was actual management, which he should have been getting involved in the matches.
The general idea of a general manager is he's the manager of a whole show.
Correct.
Therefore, getting involved in individual matches, not really the idea.
Correct. But anyway, we're digressing.
This match went all over the building, was the usual amount of carnage, but the wily veterans got the win.
That they did, and it was none other than Dougie Matthews who managed to get the pin.
Yes. I see a bright future for that guy.
It's just a shame he's hanging around with the rough crowd.
True. It is a shame.
As much as the crowd that he's with, which is none other than the All Elite Express, I've got to say, Dougie does impress me.
He impresses me. I think that he has the ability to rise above the All Elite Express, shall we say.
Potentially. Possibly. I'll go as... And this is how far I'll even give credit where credit is due. Keep an eye on that lad.
I've been thinking that inwardly for a while, so yeah.
Keep an eye on that lad, because he's got a future.
No kidding. Yeah, and the Myatt Legacy and Dougie picked up the win in that match. after suitable amounts of carnage,
Correct. Couldn't say
which
it
led
better
us on
myself.
to the main event. Where do we even start with this?
Right, the main
Well,
event.
let's start.
Let me just state, the main event was for the newly minted UKWA Championship and the King of the Kingdom Championship. Meaning whoever was leaving...
Between the incumbent King of the Kingdom champion, Charles Kelsey, and the challenger who won the Ready for War Rumble to get this opportunity, Kit Knox, and
The Match
all of the
Stipulation
Express were banned from ringside.
and General Manager.
Yes.
Which I wish I just narrowed it down to Christopher Drew on the actual paperwork. But I couldn't
simply
because...
the term the general manager was banned from
UKWA.
ringside. But unfortunately, we had no general manager at this point because Christopher Drew had already been fired.
Yes.
A loophole that the smarmy bastard quite happily royally interpreted to his own advantage.
Which you'll find out what we mean by that in the next minute or so. But anyway,
Yes.
chaos ensued. This match, I will say, was chaotic.
Yes.
At this point, I was going back and forth, and because of what was going on with management as such, I took my eye off two focuses. Unfortunately.
You start focusing both on what was happening in the ring,
and in regards to me being a future potential 100% owner of UKWA.
yes. Unfortunately, you didn't so much as stop keeping your eye on either as you kept your eye on both, which meant 100% of your focus was on neither.
I was having to focus on other things. Now, I believe that I had security in the back, making sure to restrain All Elite from being at ringside. I
Yep.
did state too. I did pass out a message that if All Elite did get involved, that Shropshire Hardstyle would be fully permitted to get involved.
Yeah.
But I knew that they would not deliberately cost Charles Kelsey the match as well.
Because as much as the modus operandi is causing chaos and carnage all over the shop, they know better than to cost their leader his championship. In fact, they would much rather he kept it by any means necessary, which means...
No. What I was stating is that Shropshire Hardstyle, with Shropshire Hardstyle, they would not get involved unless...
They wouldn't have come out unless the All Elite Express decided to flout the ringside ban. Yes.
Yes. Now, unfortunately, during the match, the referee got knocked out.
Due to honest-to-God accident.
At which point, All Elite Express broke the dam. One of the damn last rules.
Essentially, the security in the back couldn't hold them. They sensed their opportunity. The referee was down, and they took full advantage.
However, I had a backup plan with Shropshire Hardstyle going out and making the save, and
all of which meant there was upwards of 10 people brawling all over the arena.
Correct, and at which point I did state, in my head, I will deal with them after the show.
At that stage, a sensible thought. However, it was soon to be proved inadequate, shall we say.
We'll get to that point in a minute. But anyway, I believe at which point, when they cheap-shotted Kit Knox, Basham decided to even up the odds with the super kick. At which point, Christopher Drew made his presence known.
Yes, the very same Christopher Drew that not 2 matches ago, 3 matches
I think,
ago, had been fired from the company.
Yes. As soon as I saw...
Asking. How, I hear you at home asking.
And so was I, at which point he, I believe, decked Luke Basham with the smug about it.
And cleared the path for the end of the match.
Potentially. Now, I immediately entered the fray.
as if the ringside area wasn't crowded enough with
To scarp Christopher Drew
eight
from
odd
ringside.
extra members of both factions punching the living daylights out of each other all around ringside. You made a beeline straight for Christopher Drew.
At which point, I will state, this match I had blinders on, unfortunately. I focused in.
You really weren't concerned with what was going on between the ropes. You were focused on one thing and one thing only.
Well, no. I was focused on what was happening. I was focused on the match, which is why I had the backup plan just in case. Which is why I was focusing in. Now, you'll see why I said I had tunnel vision shortly.
Excuse me.
This. He's not yawning because he's bored, he's yawning because he's tired.
I'm
it's
genuinely
late.
tired. It's late.
And let me just state this. You would understand why I've got the tunnel vision.
Absolutely.
As soon as I saw Christopher Drew, I saw red.
Yes.
Now, take into account, you thought I was livid before.
Yeah, I thought you were fairly angry when you fired him, but that paled into insignificance thoroughly compared to what happened next.
I immediately entered and pretty much stepped forward to personally remove Christopher Drew. And to basically to speak to certain, local authorities to have Christopher Drew arrested because he had essentially, as he was fired from UK Way as the general manager,
and had not bought a ticket to re-enter the building, he was essentially trespassing.
And he had also committed assault.
Yes.
Or so I thought.
So we all thought.
Little did I know.
Little did any of us know.
That weaseling snake.
That snivelling, filthy snake, weasel, swine, bastard.
Keep it clean.
Opportunist.
Let's just say this. All I'll just state to you is, the language that you just heard from JB was much more cleaner than mine after the show.
Yes. There's a table backstage at Ulster Civic Hall that still has the dent you kicked in it, I'm sure. Damn, shouldn't have said that out loud. Don't charge us for it, please.
Please don't. Let's just state this.
Seriously, I saw. Let's just say we were lucky there was nothing big and heavy to be thrown. Otherwise, you'd have launched it after that match.
After the event, because after the event, not after the match, because I was still in shock after the match.
Yes, we should just point out. We should just clear up just in case people are listening and they're not sure what's going on. The result of the match.
No. Before we get to it,
the shenanigans were cleared from the ring.
Basically, what ended up happening is, as I went to remove Christopher Drew pretty much cowered in the corner like the weasel that he is.
Yep.
And gently passed me a piece of paper, informing me that he had actually got his referee license, so was permitted to be there.
His manager's license.
Yes. Which was accepted.
Yes.
I didn't accept it. And Renee hadn't accepted it.
So it was accepted by who exactly?
Unfortunately, you remember me stating throughout the night
that you were keeping your eye on the bid to become 100% owner, yes, which you'd had to unfortunately take your eye off due to Christopher Drew and his constant shenanigans.
Well, the match itself, the whole match itself. I'd actually lost focus on who was the top bidder.
And as it turned out, as the bidding closed, wasn't you, was it?
No.
So, you've now got a new co-owner.
Yes. Who I don't know.
Who I don't think anybody knows. Well, I think members of the All Elite Express possibly know, but I don't think anyone else on the roster does.
I don't think they do. I think the only person who does know is probably Christopher Drew, because he managed to get their signature.
Yes.
At which point, immediately, as soon as I saw that, I was like, "Hang on, no, this can't be happening." And I believe I actually had my earpiece in and as soon as that was being revealed, I actually had the boy, people in the back literally already on checking on it, and they informed me in my earpiece that it was legit.
Deeply troubling, I've no doubt.
And because he got his manager license, not only did he also allow Christopher Drew his manager license, he was allowed to be involved, and that the 3-strike rule was removed permanently.
Yes.
And basically, for what was going to happen on that night, I could not be involved.
Yeah, sort of completely cut you out of the loop, really.
Basically, as their first, order of business, it basically stated that management would not be involved, which meant that himself included, or themselves, and
whoever
myself could not be involved.
This new co-owner, and of course you, could not be involved, which meant that
I had to leave.
You had to leave, and Christopher Drew didn't, which must have been about 165 out of 10 on the irritating scale.
I thought I was done with Drew.
Turns out, not a chance. Turns out that, in fact, weasel is the wrong description for Christopher Drew. I think perhaps cockroach might be more appropriate. I know that has serious negative connotations, but what I simply meant by that was almost impossible to get rid of.
Almost, yeah. Let's just state this. I had to watch on as Charles Kelsey had basically cheap-shotted Kit Knox and powerbombed him.
Yes.
Or Dosser-bombed him, as he describes it.
Yep.
To become the last King of the Kingdom champion.
And the first ever new UKWA champion. Not the outcome anybody who isn't under the umbrella term All Elite Express wanted.
To say I was livid, it's just...
Yeah.
Members of the crowd thought the contract could have been faked.
Yes.
And I had to pretty much walk over with the contract in hand and showcase it.
To let people know that, sadly, as much as you'd like to agree with them, it wasn't.
It was legit. Now, let's just state this. I believe that someone did make his presence known that he was coming after Kelsey, though.
Oh, absolutely. At the end of the match, in amongst all the carnage of everyone involved in the match and at ringside in the main event, making their way out of the arena, a certain CJ Rollins made his presence felt.
Pointing at Charles Kelsey, stating, "That belt looks nice."
I want me some of that, I think, was his subtext there.
I may have to arrange that. Possibly.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see what your new co-owner thinks, but for as far as you're concerned, yes, I think I could understand
that's a possibility. But anyway, in regards to the me new co-owner with me, I don't know who it is. I will find out.
I don't doubt that.
And believe me when I say this.
Yep.
When I do find out, I want some certain answers on what the hell are they doing.
Well, having sat there and had to commentate on the carnage that was the main event, I can completely understand that.
What worries me is I thought Christopher Drew, as general manager, was a pain in the rear.
He was. No two ways about it.
Me not knowing who my co-owner is may actually be a bigger problem than Christopher Drew.
I'd say. Well, how's that going to work going forward? What happens if wrestlers turn up and go, "Oh no, I'm on the show, the boss said," and until that particular second, you've got no idea?
It's what have been agreed
because they're not referring to you; they're referring to the other boss.
It is actually agreed in the terms and conditions that as long as we actually discuss it with each other, and make each other known now, because I believe that the co-ownership, because Renee did actually put in certain match stipulations would have to be agreed on both sides.
Well, that's a relief for you, but
I will state thank you, Renee, in regards to that.
Yep.
But there is certain matches, you know, in regards to main events. Well, basically, we do get allowances for certain matches. We get like a bit of a limit on what we can book each.
Obviously. It is going to be interesting going forward, though, whether the new owner has the interests
co-owner.
The new co-owner has the interests of the whole company or simply of All Elite Express at the heart of what they're doing.
Now, I have no gripes of All Elite being in the top position. No gripes about it. If it's
You won't find any from me.
If it's earned.
Well, so far, I can't gripe at Charles Kelsey. He may use every shortcut in the book when it benefits him, but generally speaking, he puts the effort in. He's the king. He was the King of the Kingdom champion, and he is now the UKWA champion for a reason.
Yeah.
And, well, for many reasons, one of which is, to be brutally honest, hard work.
Mm-hmm.
He uses the All Elite Express as a way to grease the wheels, as it were, to him retaining the championship. He does not, by any stretch of the imagination, hide behind them.
No.
And I've got to admire that, because it would be very easy to do.
As much as I could turn around and say strip him of the belt, that would make me no better than Christopher Drew.
Precisely. And frankly, if you sink to his level, you might as well just give up.
But let's just say, hang on. I just had an interesting thought.
Why do I not like the sound of that? No, sorry, go on.
CJ Rollins wants to consider going for the belt.
He wants to challenge for the UKWA Championship, yes.
I'll agree, that's fine. Although I just may have been speaking to new talent soon, and there is one new talent who I am potentially bringing in, who has possibly requested for a match directly against Charles Kelsey.
That could prove interesting. However,
I may have to make that for the championship. May have to. But I'm not going to reveal who it is in my mind yet.
I see. Just like, as I'm sure the new co-owner will reveal their plans when the time is right, but for now, you're both in the dark as to the other's plans.
Let's just say this. They may not like it.
I get the distinct impression you're banking on that.
Well, I'm not banking on me co-owner not liking it. I don't think I think that, let's just say this. This is somebody who could possibly go toe-to-toe with Kelsey on physicality.
Yeah, that's someone where his natural size advantage doesn't apply. He's not going to like that.
And that's all I'm saying.
Fair enough.
Anyway, that's going to be a wrap-up for this week's episode.
Absolutely. Just a reminder, though, before we wrap up and you go to the plugs, if you liked any of the description of what you've heard and you want to see it for real, about a week or so, did you say? Possibly sooner?
During next week?
Sometime during next week. Available for you to watch on Turnbuckle TV will be UKWA Finest Hour.
for just $3.99. Or if you're interested in the actual Turnbuckle TV, why don't you just sign up through the UKWA link, which is www.turnbuckletv.com/UKWA, and sign up. But when you do sign up, you can actually earn yourself a free week.
Ooh, which frankly is worth doing for sure.
Definitely. But then again, the price is amazing, $3.99.
$3.99 a month for over 30 wrestling promotions, £1 a week.
Soon to be 40 plus.
Soon to be, yeah, because new ones are being added pretty much constantly.
Correct. But anyway, we digress. We'll now get on to the plug, shall we? I'll just get through these very quickly because I believe you yourself are tired. I'll speed through them quickly now for you.
That's all good. On you go.
Which is, please check out UKWA, also known as UK Wrestling Alliance, for all photography needs. Please check out Tony Knox, Jessica Turbo Photography, and K Swift Photography. All great photographers, highly recommend. If you are interested in learning about how to wrestle, I would highly recommend Manchester Pro Wrestling Academy, as their beginner classes are on Monday, £10 per class, 7 p.m. till 9 p.m. And there's another school I'd recommend as well, which is none other than the Academy Pro Wrestling, which I believe they actually have their weekly training sessions on a Friday. But if you are interested in finding out more on both of them and where they are held as such, please check out their social media as such. Please also, of course, check out JFX3D. Amazing custom-made championship. I mean, great at metalwork. Amazing people. 100% highly recommend. Absolute absolute best of the best at making custom-made championships. I know personally because I've recently bought one for UKWA.
Yeah.
I of course also recommend you check out charities like Changes for Health and Wellbeing, Changes Recovery Radio, Messy for Mind, Donna Louise, absolute great charities, and the information that they have on their websites could prove massively useful and could actually end up helping basically either yourself or a colleague. The information could prove useful, you never know. Of course, we also recommend you check out the lighter side of wrestling by checking out none other than Botchamania. You're welcome, Matthew. And of course, WrestleCrap.
You're welcome as well, RD Reynolds and the WrestleCrap crew.
Of course, and of course, OSW Review. You're welcome, the OSW Review crew. Honestly, absolutely amazing. And we, of course, recommend Pull or Pass radio show hosted by none other than Magic Mark Adams.
Yep.
Where they talk all things geeky, nerdy, and Marvel. And DC.
Yes.
And much more. We, of course, also recommend you check out We the Independent, which has got Sugar Dunkerton and, of course, Davey Starr and his many nicknames. And others.
And his 20-minute long introduction, yes.
And, of course, massively interesting interviews.
Well worth checking out.
Definitely, 100%. We, of course, recommend you check out, a podcast on Podbean, which is Train Pop Culture, where they talk all things from movies, films, wrestling, and even beer.
Oh, well, there you go.
And, of course, we also recommend to check out Think Wrestling, which is hosted by none other than Tom Baker.
Tom Baker, who could not be at Finest Hour, but will be back behind the commentary table for the next UKWA show.
Which the name will be getting revealed soon.
Yes,
as well.
Can't wait for that.
True. And, of course, if you're on Think Wrestling, I recommend you check out the Talk Wrestling series, where I believe Tom Baker does interviews as such. Highly recommend it. And, of course, I recommend, if anybody is interested in, has any party needs, to check out Fabaloony, which their website is www.fabaloony.co.uk, where it's party time all the time, where they actually have party packages, soft play in Bouncy Castle, magic shows, mini disco, face painting and glitter art, stilt walking, balloon modelling, balloon decorating, fire and illusion shows.
More than enough for anyone there.
Definitely. We, of course, also recommend you check out Kayfabe Music UK. And why is that?
Why is that? Well, because amongst their many other talents, they provide not only the music for the professional wrestling superstar Matt Burns, but also for this very show.
And other wrestlers, and many other wrestlers as well. The music is absolutely amazing. Highly recommend them if you have to do some custom-made music. 100%.
Yes.
Quality. And of course, we also recommend you check out Turnbuckle TV, as we have already plugged it for just $3.99, where you can get multiple wrestling shows on there, and of course, with the UKWA being on there. And of course, we also recommend you check out your local wrestling shows, just to point out a few: United Wrestling, Pro Wrestling for You, Slam Wrestling, Academy Pro Wrestling, Future Championship Wrestling, Fusion Pro Wrestling, who unfortunately, I'll just point this out as well, had to cancel their show that was meant to be occurring this weekend due to the weather.
Nightmare, but I'm sure they'll reschedule, regroup, and come back stronger.
That they will do. The Barracks Wrestling, I believe, AWA, and anyone that you want to mention?
Others. Falling Star Wrestling, Future Shock Wrestling, Insane Championship Wrestling, also known as ICW, PCW, Pro Wrestling for You, Progress Wrestling, can't forget that.
We hit Pro Wrestling for You.
Progress Wrestling, and WXW, if you're on the mainland Europe, and many, many more.
And of course, if you're not sure where your local wrestling show is in the UK, there's an app for that.
There certainly is. And the best part is, it's a free one.
Yes, it is. Which is called Babyface Wrestling UK, where you can pretty much follow any wrestlers that you're interested in basically following, and of course any wrestling companies. Please, I massively appreciate if you manage to follow myself, Matt Burns, as I am on there. And of course, I massively appreciate if you were able to follow UKWA on there as well. And I will state, please get some more follows for UKWA, because
please do.
Do you want to know why?
Why?
We are just under WWE on that list.
That's impressive, yeah. So if we can be above WWE at something, anything, that'd be
please
amazing. So yeah, also don't go looking for me because I'm not on there, but you
could
just
know.
follow Matt Burns and UKWA instead. Do that'll be fine.
You never know. We could try and arrange something out for JB. Anyway, we of course recommend you check out the Burning Truth website, which is www.theburningtruthuk.com. You know what's on there, of course, but let us just state that we cannot be held responsible for any external links.
Nope.
And of course, please check out our social media, which is we are on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. And of course, we have past episodes on Spotify.
Indeed we do, and I think that pretty much wraps everything up.
That does call it a bit of a wrap-up. And of course, we always recommend you all to stay well. But let's just state this: next week could be a pre-recorded episode from one from the banks of the Burning Truth. If anything does change, we will let you know. But we will be hopefully having an episode out for you next week at the usual time of 9 o'clock in the afternoon.
/evening.
UK GMT Standard Time.
Yes.
And of course, with that, we of course always recommend you all to stay well and stay safe. And when we say that, we don't just mean it physically.
No. We of course also mean mentally. And as we say at the end of every show, every week, it's okay to not be okay.
100%. It is okay to not be okay. And don't ever, you might be having a bad time, but listen, it's okay. All that we recommend you do is please, if you feel that you're having a bad time and you need help, please do seek it. And it is never a weakness to ask for help, because you never know. You could actually end up finding out that you are more loved and
you have way more friends
help
than you know, and that more people have got your back than you ever thought possible.
But for now, please stay your awesome selves and stay well. We thank you for listening to this episode, and we will catch you next week. Until then, stay well and stay safe. And as always, please check out your local wrestling. Until then, we'll catch you laters.
Thanks for listening, and good night.
Catch you laters.